Hey everyone, welcome back to Weather Scott. We've got a lot to cover today. Major severe weather outbreak is shaping up as we head into next week, and this one's going to have a little bit of every. The potential for strong tornadoes, large hail, damaging winds, flash flooding, and even heavy snow in some areas. And it's not just next week. We're keeping an eye on the pattern. Looks like it's going to stay active all the way into the middle of March, bringing more opportunities for severe weather. Let's dive right into what's happening now and what's coming next. For a moment, we're seeing some cooler air settling in across the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, and into the Northeast. This is being driven by a powerful storm system that just moved through the Great Lakes region yesterday. If you were in the Midwest, the Great Lakes area, or the Northeast, you definitely felt those winds. It was one of those days where you really had to hang on to your hats. As this system moves out, that cooler air is sticking around, and we'll feel it continuing into the weekend, especially through Sunday, March 2nd, across the eastern part of the country. But before we get into the details, hit the subscribe button like this video and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. Meanwhile, out west, it's a different story, and temperatures are starting to warm up. As we head into the afternoon, wind speeds won't be quite as intense as they were yesterday, but parts of the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast could still see gusts reaching 30 to 40 MP. Those winds should settle down overnight, but by Sunday afternoon, places like Maine, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire could see the winds ramping back up again. Okay, as we transition into the new week, warmer air is going to start building in from the west. By Monday, March 3rd, you'll really notice those above average temperatures. Those deep reds and maroons on the temperature anomaly maps show just how warm it's going to get. The heat builds through Tuesday, March 4th and Wednesday, March 5th before we see cooler air starting to push back in. This clash of warm and cold air masses is going to set the stage for some significant severe weather in the days ahead. Before we get into next week's major storm system, let's quickly touch on what's happening over the weekend. We're expecting some snow showers and lake effect snow across the Great Lakes and parts of the Northeast overnight and into Sunday morning. Out west, the system that's going to kick off next week's severe weather is just beginning to move in. This evening and overnight, rain will start spreading into Western Oregon and Northern California. By Sunday morning, as colder air filters into the higher elevations, we'll see that rain turning into snow. Places like the Sierras and the Cascades could pick up some heavier snowfall. As far as severe weather goes this weekend, things look pretty quiet overall. Sunday is expected to be calm with no real thunderstorm activity, but by Sunday, there is a marginal risk for severe weather. That's a level 1 out of 5 on the Storm Prediction Center scale. This risk zone includes parts of southwestern Kansas, western Oklahoma, including the Oklahoma Panhandle, the eastern Texas Panhandle, and far northwest Texas. While the risk is low, there's still the potential for gusty winds, some hail, and maybe even a brief isolated tornado. Sunday morning will start off quiet, but as we move into the afternoon, storms will begin developing around the Amarillo area in Texas. These storms are likely to form an arcing band of showers and thunderstorms, and some could produce wind gusts of 50 to 60 MPa along with some hail. As they move eastward and take advantage of the day's peak heating, we could see some stronger storms around Elk City, Lawton, Fort Sill, Wichita Falls, and areas west of Fort Worth. By Sunday evening, as the sun sets and instability decreases, the storms should weaken as they push into eastern Oklahoma and northeast Texas. Rainfall totals from this initial round of storms won't be huge. Most areas will see around an inch of rain, just enough to wet the roads. Meanwhile, snowfall in the western mountains will accumulate a few inches, especially in the Cascades and parts of the Rockies. Now let's turn our attention to the big system coming early next week. This one has the potential for a significant, widespread severe weather outbreak. By Monday, March 3rd, a strong upper-level trough will dig into Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and Colorado. As it moves eastward, it will rapidly intensify and take on a negative tilt, a sign that the system is gaining strength. By Tuesday, March 4th, and into Wednesday, March 5th, this system will eject into the southern plains and Midwest, creating ideal conditions for severe weather. At the surface, we'll see a deepening low-pressure system starting at 996 MB over eastern Colorado on Monday, dropping to 988 MB over western Kansas by Tuesday, and bottoming out around 980 MB over Missouri and Illinois by Wednesday. Pressure this low indicates a very powerful storm, and the tight pressure gradient around the low will bring strong winds and dangerous weather conditions. Severe weather threat ramps up on Monday with a marginal risk at level 1 out of 5 across eastern Oklahoma and the Dallas-Fort Worth area. By Tuesday, the threat expands and intensifies. Areas from St. Louis to Dallas could see an enhanced risk level 3 out of 5 with the potential for strong tornadoes, damaging winds, and large hail. Cities like Little Rock, Memphis, Nashville, Birmingham, and New Orleans are all in the risk zone. By Wednesday, the threat shifts eastward, bringing the mid-Atlantic and southeast into play. Places like Raleigh, Norfolk, Charleston, and Savannah could see severe storms. As this system evolves, we'll see thunderstorms developing along a dry line in Texas and Oklahoma late Monday into early Tuesday with strong wind shear and increasing in instability. Some of these storms could become supercells capable of producing tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds. By Tuesday afternoon and evening, storms will intensify as they move into Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. The terrain in these areas makes storm chasing difficult, and with the potential for strong, long-track tornadoes, this could be a dangerous situation. On the cold side of the system, heavy snow and blizzard conditions are possible from Iowa into Minnesota and Wisconsin. Tight pressure gradients and heavy snowfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour could lead to whiteout conditions and dangerous travel. Cities like Des Moines, Minneapolis, and La Crosse should prepare for significant snowfall and strong winds. Let's take a quick look at the setup so you can see just how intense this system is going to be. On Sunday, we'll see a smaller system over the central and southern plains, bringing a brief window for severe weather in Oklahoma and Kansas. But by Monday and Tuesday, the bigger storm system starts really taking shape. The jet stream will create strong lifting across the deep south. And the system's negative tilt means it'll pull in a lot of moisture from the Gulf while also generating a lot of wind shear. Basically, a perfect recipe for severe storms. One of the big questions right now is how much instability we'll actually see. Monday night's risk looks pretty low end, but as the trough intensifies on Tuesday, everything could come together for a significant outbreak. Even though models have been showing lower instability levels lately, I think they're going to bounce back. Warm Gulf waters and strong southerly winds should bring in enough moisture to fuel these storms. The amount of cloud cover we get on Tuesday will also be a big factor. If there's a lot of cloud cover, it could limit instability, but if we get enough clearing, the atmosphere could become extremely unstable, which would really increase the severe weather threat. By Tuesday evening, the most unstable air will likely be focused around the Mississippi River Valley, but we could still see some severe weather even farther north into the Midwest. The low-level jet on Tuesday will also be cranking with winds between 60 and 80 knots just above the surface. That kind of wind shear combined with instability could lead to strong tornadoes, especially if we see more isolated supercells rather than one big line of storms. As for the timing, tomorrow's severe weather window will be brief, focused on western Oklahoma, southern Kansas, and the Texas Panhandle. That system fizzles out overnight, but by early Tuesday, the big storm system starts ramping up over the Great Plains. And here's something crazy. The pressure on this storm could get close to breaking records. We're talking about a low pressure system dropping to around 980 millibars in the Midwest, which for March is almost unheard of. To put that into perspective, that's comparable to a category 1 or 2 hurricane if this were happening over warm ocean water. Tuesday morning will start with showers and thunderstorms from Iowa down into Texas, with the severe threat building as we head toward lunchtime. At the afternoon, a line of storms will stretch from Missouri down to Louisiana and Texas. And any storms that form ahead of that line could produce strong, long-track tornadoes. On the backside of the system, we'll also see snow across parts of the central and northern plains. Even outside of the severe weather, those tight pressure gradients will produce some pretty strong wind gusts, so keep that in mind if you've got outdoor plans on Tuesday. The peak tornado threat looks like it'll hit the Mississippi River Valley in the mid to late afternoon, and we'll still see damaging winds and possible tornadoes through the evening as the storms push east into Tennessee, Mississippi, and Alabama. Overnight, the severe weather threat will start to wind down, but there's still a chance for some damaging winds before the line weakens on its way toward the East Coast. Snow will continue in the upper Midwest and parts of Canada, and by Wednesday morning, the line of storms should start losing steam. Later in the week, There's even a chance for another low pressure system to develop around New England, which could bring strong winds and more snow on Thursday. And behind this entire system, temperatures will take a big dip, with below average temps pushing into the Midwest and Great Plains, while areas closer to the Gulf Coast stay warm in Spring Lake. Thanks so much for tuning in today. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Stay weather aware, and I'll catch you in the next one.